Hello and welcome to my review of the ORKS Ghazghkull Thraka. This miniature will set you back £42, and currently he is temporarily out of stock on GW's website, so I guess the £42 wasn't as dissuading as I anticipated it would be, because that's a lot of money for a single miniature. Okay, I completely understand this single miniature is almost the size of a Redemptor Dreadnought, but still, it's a lot of money when you compare it to the other two large, unique, well-known characters such as Reboot Gullyman and Abaddon the Despoiler. They're both £37.50, so a little bit cheaper, so £4.50 cheaper than Ghazghkull. However, those kits do consist of fewer components, 44 compared to Ghazghkull's 61. And we'll be doing a size comparison between all three of them later on in the review. Now, Ghazghkull is equipped with an 80mm base and, yeah, of course, a 25mm base for Makari, the banner waver. The rules are very juicy. He's extremely survivable, as you'd expect the kind of, as a leader of the Orks to be. As always, we're going to start this video off by looking at the model up close and personal, and Makari, of course. We'll go through the spare parts, and finally we'll make some size comparisons. So first things first then, let's have a look at Ghazghkull, and we will compare him firstly to the old Ghazghkull model, of course. And this is a very special day for me, very special video. I started Orktober last month on the 1st of October with the old Ghazghkull models review, and I thought that this would be fitting to have him, the newer model, as the last Ork review. Tomorrow you will see a video of my entire Ork collection, and I hope that brings a smile to your face, even if it is a big grey wah. Building this model was a joy. If you were lucky enough to join me in the live stream, I built this model under the 3 hours. I was very happy with it. I went for this pose, and I think it works. I don't like the pose that's on the box where he's tilting forward. That angle is a bit off to me. His left leg is a bit too high. I much prefer this pose, but each to their own. I love this massive power claw. It's fantastic. It's so cool. I like the horns. I do think his head is a bit small. It's a bit too small. You could fit a swimming pool in between the head and the iron jaw there. The gun is incredible. This 4-barreled Roar of Mork or Gork. You've got a Primaris head there with a bullet hole. Let's just zoom in and enhance at this detail and admire it closer. So there's the Primaris there. You've got the panelling. You've got reinforced concrete or rockcrete, and you've got this big pillar. That's the rear of Gaz. It's got this canister, and then this liquid module. You've got this crank thing for this big engine. He's hefting around one of the massive engines off one of the vehicles, I'm sure, or off a dreadnought just there, that's powering this massive custom Mega Armor suit. I'm not sure about the cables. I'm not sure whether that's needed. I'm not liking the angle that they're in, put it that way. I get that they're probably fibre bundles, but I would have preferred them to be loose or hanging rather than at this quite high angle. For me, it just doesn't work for cables to look like that, but that's just my preference. I do like the exhausts. I think this skull should be bigger, much bigger, and I think the stick bombs look diddly and tiny compared to the old model. So there are a few things that I would change, and that's one of the reasons why I didn't rush to pick up the Prophecy of the Wolf box set when it was first announced. But I've managed to secure one now, and this is where we are. So that's Ghazghkull, lots of detail, going to be an absolute joy to paint. I would probably suggest you leave off the arms and take him off the base and paint him that way. Definitely take the head out and not glue this jaw. But of course, the nature of these reviews is I pretty much have to glue most of the parts on to give you a full review of the full model. Let's have a look at Makari right here, the banner bearer with this ridiculous 2+ invulnerable save. This awesome banner. It's quite small though. I mean, that's what you'd expect with with a Gretchen, picking a Gretchen to, you know, hold up your banner. But nice detail on Makari. Got his foot on the elite Astra Militarum force, and got a dagger, like a curved blade. Pretty cool. Fair bit of detail on that one. I like Makari. I like that they added him to this set. So let's just look at these spare parts, of which you don't get many, but of course, you know, he's a character, so I'm surprised that you get any at all. It mainly consists of the other neck and mouth part. If you have his head facing his right side, then you'd use this piece, but you'd still use the head, and also you'd use this different targeting cabling matrix thing that is a bit shorter and works, you know, when his head is facing right. You've got 4 reams of spent casing that are popping out of his gun there, so you can go for the one on the box and have that firing away. And then you also get the two smokes. I'm not a huge fan of smoke coming out of weapons and things, but you know, if you were to go ahead and you know, put this on him, I think it'd work quite well, you know, as those, and I still might do that. I'm having to think about it at the moment as we're talking about it. So they're the spare parts, not many at all. Now that leads us into the size comparisons. Okay, so we're going to have Reboot Guilliman on the right, and then we've got Abaddon on the left. Ghazghkull is bigger than both of these characters. It's a combination of many things. It's a combination of the height of the base. I mean, Guilliman is still pretty big, but again, he's on this massive base, bigger than Abaddon's, and yeah. So if we just do a comparison here between them both, as big as Abaddon is, Ghazghkull is just very thick. And then compared to Guilliman, again, you can't beat that thickness with Ghazghkull. Massive model. Guilliman is on, kind of evens out between them. The base sizes, he'd probably be, I want to say, a little bit taller than Gaz's head. But yeah, it's everything else that's on Gaz that just makes him huge. I would like to do some comparisons with Ghazghkull with the Primarchs. So if you would like to see me unbox and review all the Primarchs, please leave a like and subscribe, and support the channel any way you can. So moving back on the size comparisons then, I happen to have a Redemptor Dreadnought nearby, not quite as big as a Redemptor, not on the same base, he's on a slightly smaller base, but height wise, not much in it between the Redemptor and Ghazghkull. A Contemptor Dreadnought, I'd say he's bigger than a Contemptor Dreadnought, as you can see there, definitely thicker than one. I'd like to see them go toe to toe. But there you go, that's a nice thick comparison. Comparing him to all your other kind of orc models that you'd regularly see on the tabletop then. So you've got the War Boss, which he just dwarfs. You've got an Orc Boy. There's not real any point comparing him to a Gretchen because Makari's over there, and I've been showing him next to Makari, but he makes Orc Boys look like Gretchen compared to him, and he makes War Bosses look really small compared to him. And he's also much bigger than my knob, which is right here. Look at the size of that. Yeah, he's huge, isn't he? Biggest orc, fantastic. Can't wait for the orc refresh. Final comparison I'd like to make is with the 3 usual Imperial models. So you've got a Legacy Space Marine on the left, Primaris on the right, and Slight Marbo looking very small in the middle. This thing is going to dwarf any of the Primaris models, except for, you know, the Redemptor Dreadnought, but the standard infantry Ghazghkull is going to stand much taller. Of course, it wouldn't be a full Ghazghkull review without a proper size comparison with my old heavy metal Ghazghkull model, and this is where we've come in kind of 20 years or so. a bit more than 20 years, this is what's happened. We've gone from Ghazghkull on a Terminator base, full metal, very heavy, is a weapon, full metal, very heavy, to this plastic Ghazghkull kit, which is just huge. This is what I always expected Ghazghkull to be, this size, not a little bit bigger than a Mega Knob. So yeah, that's the full roundup. We've come full circle in these October videos. The final thing we need to do is just go through all of his rules. So unfortunately, because he's a 9th edition model now, he actually came out before 9th edition was out, you're not going to have access to his full data sheet until the 9th edition codex is released. And I don't think it'll be this year. Could be the start of next year. Hopefully it's like January, February time and we don't have long to wait, because currently I really wouldn't use the data sheet in the current codex. You're best off just typing in Ghazghkull Thraka into Google, coming up with his rules, and I would just take a screenshot and then at least you've got them on your phone if you wanted to use Ghazghkull in any of your battles. His rules have drastically improved compared to the previous rules. For starters, he's faster. Before he could only move 5 inches, now he can move 7 inches. He's stronger at strength 7. He's also tougher at toughness 7. He's got 4 more wounds at wounds 12. He's got the same number of attacks. However, the more wounds he takes, the more attacks he gets, which is interesting. But his save is the same. So let me just go through the stat line then. So instead of before where he could take damage and it didn't really affect him, now he's kind of treated like a vehicle. The remaining wounds affects his stat line, which has its good points and bad points, I guess. But he starts off with 12 wounds, and if he's got between 7 and 12, his movement speed is 7 inches, his strength 7, and his attacks are 5. If he's got between 3 and 6 wounds, his movement speed is 6 inches, strength drops to 6, and attacks increases to 6, and then when he's only got 1 to 2 wounds left, his movement speed is 5 inches, strength is 5, and he gets 7 attacks. The rest of his stat line reads: his weapon skill is 2+, ballistic skill 5+, toughness 7, 12 wounds, leadership 8, and a save of 2+. Ghazghkull Thraka is a single model equipped with ORKS Raw, ORKS Claw, stick bombs. Only one of this model can be included in your army. So the weapons then: ORKS Raw, massive shooter weapon. It's a 36-inch range, assault 12, strength 5, AP -1, and a damage of 1. That's fantastic. It's a solid 12 shots there. Yes, his ballistic skill is only 5+, but it's got an effective range there of 43 inches, not to be overlooked. ORKS Claw, it's a melee weapon. It times his strength by 2. That's strength 14. AP is -4, and the damage is also 4. That's horrific. You want to be getting Ghazghkull in close combat as quick as possible. Stick bombs work as usual. Range of 6 inches, grenade D6, strength 3, AP 0, and a damage of 1. Abilities, here we go: Mob Rule, Daka Daka Daka, and Great War. Friendly Orc infantry units within 6 inches of this model can be chosen to charge with even if they advance this turn. In addition, add 1 to the attacks characteristic of models in friendly Orc infantry units whilst their unit is within 6 inches of this model, if their unit made a charge move this turn. The boss is watching. When a friendly Orc unit within 6 inches of this model fails a morale test, this model can restore order in a brutal display of violence. If it does, that unit suffers D3 mortal wounds and that morale test is treated as having been passed. Prophet of Gork and Mork. This model has a 4+ invulnerable save. In addition, this model can only lose a maximum of 4 wounds in each phase. That's horrific. He's got 12 wounds anyway, so he's going to be sticking around for at least 3 turns, which is mental. It works just like the Catan ability, or should I say, they have copied his ability for a maximum number of wounds that he can take. Goths is the best. Reroll hit rolls of 1 for attacks made with melee weapons by models in friendly Goth Orc units whilst their unit is within 6 inches of this model. So he's a Goth, which is a clan of Orcs obviously, and yeah, if you get some Goth units, then rerolling 1 for attacks will really help him out. Grand War Boss. This model can be included in an Orc detachment without preventing other units from that detachment from gaining a clan culture. Note, however, that this model does not benefit from any clan culture unless the clan culture selected for that detachment is the Goth clan culture. Keywords: Orc, Goth, character, monster, war boss, Ghazghkull Thraka. Now there's an important point there that he is a monster. So that of course then means that you can't put him in any transport options. He's going to be foot slogging across the board, which is big downside of him being a monster. So Ghazghkull is an HQ choice. He's not a Lord of War. He's a power points cost of a 14. I am unable to learn of how many points cost he currently is, though, unfortunately. Let's talk about Makari, the banner bearer. Now, he is a power points cost of a 3. His movement is 5 inches. Weapon skill and ballistic skill are both 4+. Strength 3, toughness 3, 4 wounds, 2 attacks, leadership 6, and a save of 6+. Makari is a single model equipped with Makari's Stabber. Only one of this model can be included in your army. Makari's Stabber is a strength of the user, which is only 3, AP is nothing, and damage is 1. But when resolving an attack made with this weapon, a wound roll of 6+ inflicts D3 mortal wounds on the target and the attack sequence ends. So that's nice, but you're going to have to get your 6+ on those 2 attacks. Abilities: Ghazghkull's Wow Banner. When a model in a friendly Goth Orc unit within 6 inches of this model would lose a wound, and this model is within 3 inches of a friendly Ghazghkull Thraka unit, roll 1d6. On a 6+, that wound is not lost. So it's a bit like a feel no pain for the Goth Orc units. Accidental Figurehead. Friendly Goth Gretchen units can use this model's leadership instead of their own whilst they're within 12 inches of this model. So his leadership is a 6, and normal Gretchen's leadership is 4. Suspiciously Lucky. This model has a 2+ invulnerable save. That has to be the best save of any model in the whole of the game. 6+ normal, 2+ invulnerable. You'd pretty much be using the 2+ all the time, wouldn't you? And the fact that it's got 4 wounds is fantastic. Keep Up. At the start of your movement phase, if this model is within 3 inches of a friendly Ghazghkull Thraka unit, add 2 inches to this model's move characteristic until the end of that phase. That's quite lucky because Makari has a movement speed of 5 inches, Ghazghkull is obviously 7 inches, you know, from the start. Keywords: Orc, Goth, Character, Infantry, Gretchen, Makari. So there you go. They're all of the rules for Ghazghkull and Makari. I think they're fantastic. I think Ghazghkull is such an upgrade compared to his old model, and in terms of the rules as well. You know, he used to have just a custom claw and a twin big shooter. Now he has the rightful named weapons that a character should have. It's a shame that you can't put him in a transport and move him across the board, him being a monster, but then again, he's massive. He's bigger than Gulliman, he's bigger than Abaddon. That kind of makes sense. Just swarm him with loads of Goth units to buff them up as well. That's where I'd be using him, in a Goth army, or at least, you know, please do turn your Orc army into a Goth clan at least to get the benefit of his buffing aura. What do you guys think of this new Ghazghkull model? I prefer him in this pose that I've put him in compared to the one on the box. Have you used him in a battle since he came out the start of the year? Please do put your thoughts and opinions down below. It'd be great to hear from you. Thank you ever so much for joining me today. Thank you for watching. For Ghazghkull.